And it's just, it's like a family. Yeah, well, it's not like a family, it is a family. It's a Street Poem family. Fantastic laughs. We also have a lot of tears. But, we all have a great big hug afterwards.
I'm Simon. I'm project manager for Manchester Street Poem, which is an arts charity and a collective that produces large-scale artworks that tell the stories of our city's marginalised communities in co-production with those communities, most importantly.
Here we are, this is Unit 4 at Islington Mill. Well, you can see a bit of our work that we've done up here. Last year, Salford Council were looking at knocking all this down and building some flats. So we kind of argued about the importance of the creative community here. This work here was part of the consultation, talking about, what we could offer, what the community could be here.
Manchester Street Poem began as a project for MIF 17 when the festival approached Underworld. At the time, I don't think Underworld felt they really had the new material to showcase, but had an idea for a project that would amplify the voices of the homeless community. And I think to everybody's credit, it was recognised that for the project to have any sort of integrity, it should be run, it should be led by people with lived experience of homelessness.
My name is Sheena. I am a participant with Manchester Street Poem. I've gained a lot of skills, gained a lot of experience with people, and it's hugely built up my confidence.
The beauty of it is that, you just make your marks, you make your black marks, black shapes, and do your white words over the top. And it's bold, it says something. There's a reason why protesters use cardboard with white paint on it. It's because it's got a bit of impact. We had a group come over from Ardoyne in Belfast. We set up a big fresh wall for them just to leave the mark. I mean, this is good because it's really fun painting at scale. When you literally can paint like this, that's a really liberating feeling.
MIF 17 was brilliant. Carl Hyde from Underworld wrote the stories in paint and longhand all over the walls. About 3,000 people came through the exhibition. And everybody involved just loved it. Most of us that had never really had anything to do with a big arts festival before, or even considered ourselves artists in any way, we were there in the middle of this high-profile festival with people telling us how great our work was. And then an organisation called Arts and Homelessness International, they put on a festival at the end of 2018. It felt like a progression because we'd done the workshops, we'd collected the stories in a slightly more involved way over a longer period of time. And then they were involved right through to painting their own stories up on the walls. It felt like a development to me that people were putting the stories on the walls themselves.
We've been doing some work around leadership with our core group, and particularly sort of concentrating on our values and just the idea that bringing different thoughts and ideas into a process, you often end up with something a lot more exciting than the sum of the parts.
We did a big thing at 2019 in the Arches, and we all took in turns putting our stories up there and speaking to the public. Getting the hug of a complete stranger was absolutely brilliant.
We think 160 to 180,000 people went through the square. That was an incredible achievement.
This was an interesting piece that we made for Little Amal, the giant puppet that walks across Europe. We did an event in Wigan welcoming her, and we read a book of bedtime stories. Obviously it was a giant cardboard book because she's a giant and we do cardboard.
During lockdown, our focus changed a bit. We realised that we all wanted to stay connected, and just the well-being became the end in itself, At the same time, we've been working towards this big collaboration that we're doing for MIF 23, which has been 4 years in the making, really. Now we're into development to be delivered in a few months' time. It's got to be the biggest project we've ever done. It's going to be huge.
My name's Norman, but I prefer to be called Normski, and I'm a member of Manchester Street Poem and have been for 5 years now. I normally can't talk about my story without bursting into tears because it's really quite very emotional for me. Writing it down was different, and it was very cathartic.
Our practice is basically sitting down in a group and asking people questions and getting them to reply in different and interesting ways. Probably my skill is to make people feel at ease. And I think that's probably basically comes from the fact that I really do value people. I really do value the stories that these guys have got to tell.
Total strangers were coming up and reading my story and were sympathising with me and showing me empathy. And it showed me a new side to people because I'd only ever known adversity ever since coming out as gay in 2011. But this was the first time I really felt like I was accepted.
I've been doing storytelling with people in Manchester for maybe 7 or 8 years now. And over that time, I've produced many hundreds of stories of people's lives. I'll see people around town that maybe I did a story with about 5 years ago, and we'll see each other and, we'll say hello. And there's that connection, we know, I know you, you know me. We did this beautiful thing together and created, this story. And it's a very, very special connection to make with someone. It's a beautiful thing.
It's a feel-good thing as well for me, yeah. And what I like about Street Poem is there's no right or wrong. Whatever you do what you want to do. And the main adage that we always use is no us and them, just us.
Don't think talking is always the best way of communicating how you feel, but art is a way of doing that, I think, but that offers you a cloak of protection at the same time.